What's up, everybody? Fester here, along with my partner in crime, Kool-Aid Man, Big Dan. Wasn't expecting that one.
Hey, everyone. Oh, yeah.
No, it's oh yeah.
I'm not the impersonator you are.
You gotta get feeling, man. You gotta have feeling. Get that gutter. Oh yeah. Anyway, today's episode is generally offended news.
New thing that we decided to do. We're looking for different things to do. We wanted something to start a conversation and something different. So we were going to work this. You don't mind me explaining it to you? It's a new thing we're going to do. We're going to get Google. We're going to get Google up on a tablet or a computer or a phone. We're going to enter in a topic, which today is comic book movies, I do believe.
6 comic book movies?
No. What we put in the search.
Yes.
Don't get ahead of ourselves. Damn it. You did this. Okay, this is the second time we're videoing this because the first time we beeped up. So
by we he means me, because my camera and the microphone we have is
not compatible.
No, not really.
Not unless you get the perfect setting. So we were hoping this would be fresh, lively, because we would talk about something that we hadn't really discussed before.
Yeah.
We will try and do that, but this is the second time we've done it. Oh, not completely through. We were about 3/4 of the way through.
Yep.
But anyway, so we enter a topic into Google, which was comic book movies today. We hit the news button on the top there, you know, where it says all, and then news, and then photos, and then videos. Mm-hmm. We're going to hit news. We're going to look at the first 3 things that pop up in that section, and we were going to discuss one of them at least, up to 3. Depends on how much time it takes us to talk about them. I have a feeling tonight it will just be one, because the very first thing that popped up was... Now you see.
Oh, yes, my bad. My bad. 6 comic book movies that really need a reboot.
And that's the one we're going to discuss. The other 2 were Paddington Bear 2 gets the top rated reviews on
Rotten
Tomatoes. And the third one was 7 comic book movies that are coming up this year and what you need to know about them. We could discuss either one of those. Well, the Paddington Bear probably wouldn't take too long, but we think this one will pretty much cover what we need to talk about.
Yeah, pretty much. Number 1, Swamp Thing.
I didn't even know there was a first Swamp Thing movie. Did you know there was a first Swamp Thing movie?
No, that makes 2 of us. I have no clue.
Did you know there was a second Swamp Thing movie? I didn't know there was a second Swamp Thing movie. Did you know there was a second Swamp Thing movie?
No.
It apparently was a sequel of the first Swamp Thing movie by Wes Craven.
Yeah, well,
1982. I did not know.
I wasn't born at the time, so...
Thank you for making me feel old.
Yo, Bert I was still inside my mama's tummy. Or, not her tummy, but you know. The other spot where babies actually live. So, you know, I was getting ready to fall.
Okay. We don't want to get into that type of a lesson on these shows. Swamp Thing. One, I've got to find that movie, because Wes Craven and Swamp Thing, that might have been... Apparently it's become like a cult classic.
Yeah,
so
I don't know.
I didn't know it even existed, but I want to check it out if I can.
I'm sure it looked probably cheesy.
But
for back in the 80s, definitely. But
now the second one wasn't made by Wes Craven, so apparently it was just... So I don't know what it would be like, but... as far as... I don't know a whole lot about Swamp Thing.
I don't either.
I don't think you know a whole lot about Swamp Thing.
Always from Injustice 2, and that's very little because I don't play the guy.
And I was thinking that you had told me about this, but it wasn't you, it was another buddy of mine. The only thing I really know about him was what... an animated movie came out recently with Batman, and Batman had recruited Harley Quinn to help him fight off... I can't remember who the bad guys were. I do remember what's-her-face, the plant misses.
Poison Ivy.
Poison Ivy was one of them, and that's why he recruited Harley Quinn, because they were good friends. Mm-hmm. But Harley Quinn's on the good side now. The only way I know what the movie is about, because Harley Quinn was actually working in a restaurant as a waitress, and in the restaurant they dressed up as superhero characters, and she dressed up as herself. So I remember that movie, and then she helped him out. And that Swamp Thing turns up in the end, I do believe, or somewhere near the end, as the bad guys are trying to help the Earth, in their opinion, but their idea of how to help the Earth is to rid the Earth of the human race.
Yeah.
So
I
Swamp Thing comes and basically, well, I don't want that. Well, he shows up in the end. I won't give you any more than that because that would be a spoiler alert. So, what are your thoughts? In this case, forget about the remake. What do you think about making a Swamp Thing movie?
I think they can do an awesome job now, especially with the advancements in graphics and animation. He would be such an awesome character to see on screen because I think there's so much diversity in the Swamp Thing character himself, and I think it would just be really cool just to see that type of character. That's something that we haven't seen before.
My only worry, and I think this comes to with, I wouldn't call him an obscure comic book character, but
Well, he really is. I mean,
I find those obscure characters tend to, people don't realize it's a comic book movie, and people think that it's just I don't know, and they tend to get forgotten about or put down because it's not of anything. Why would you make a movie about that sort of thing, right?
Yeah.
But
well, he's really had no mainstream publicity, really. I mean, other than his inclusion right now in Injustice 2.
Yeah.
He really hasn't. I don't even know if they're still making the comics with Swamp Thing anymore, to be honest. But he would be so cool. I think he would be a really good addition to the DC universe right now, for sure.
Well, the DC universe in my mind needs a whole lot of help.
Yeah.
But
I think you could do it.
Yeah, I think it has the potential of being an interesting movie. I also think it has the potential of being a disaster because of its obscurity right now.
Yeah.
But anyway, so
number 2,
do
Tank Girl. I have absolutely no idea about this movie.
Okay, we're off to a great start here. There are some further ones down that we've read the article. We will include a link to the article in the description. We've read through it to see if it was worth talking about, obviously, or we could talk about it.
We could talk about it. We just can't talk much.
Yeah, we've hit pretty much a roadblock in the first two. Mm-hmm. I haven't seen the original movie. We looked it up on IMDb. The original, I think we said, got a 5.2 or 5.6. Something like that. In my opinion, as far as those things go, if you don't hit 6 plus out of a 10 rating, remakes are open. Like, give it 5-10 years and then go ahead with a remake.
And I think now with the talent pool as well as in Hollywood, I think they can do a fantastic job.
Now, once again, we don't know a whole lot about it.
No, I don't.
Only what really was read there. I do remember the missus who played the original Tank Girl. I remember it came out in a period, I think, in the 90s, I'm guessing. I think it was 95 it came out. Where there were a lot of these same type of movies sort of coming out. Mm-hmm. Comic book-esque. And they were just sort of, it was just to get an action movie out, right? Yeah. It was almost an excuse for an action movie. Never watched it though. Maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't. I'm sure it's got some following somewhere.
Oh, definitely.
But I also don't know anything about the comic. So why not? Let's make a remake. That would be my opinion.
Number 3.
Now this one we might actually be able to talk a little bit about.
Definitely.
I don't know much about the cartoons. You read a little bit in the article here as I was looking up some information on the first two. But the third one is, we haven't even said it yet,
The Mask.
Yeah, now we both loved the original. You thought it was one of, I do believe, Jim Carrey, as far as Jim Carrey goes.
It's one of my favorite movies that I can actually sit down and watch that has Jim Carrey in it over and over again. That doesn't bother me.
See, now I like Jim Carrey, so I can watch a lot of his movies over and over again. But I have to say this is one of his better movies in my mind. Now, in the article you were reading, explain about the actual comics though, how they're different from really what the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah. Well, the mask character itself is darker than what was just portrayed in the original Mask movie. Yeah, the wearer of the mask does get the cartoony personality and traits and actions, but what the mask also does is make them go a little bit psychotic. So not only does the mask himself, like to mess around and joke around with people, but he brutalizes and mutilates them. So I mean, there's a big contrast there in characters. So I think now if they go to do a remake and stay with the actual comic and not just give us like a rehash of the Jim Carrey movie.
Yeah, I think that's big with this one.
Show the other side of what the mask does to people. I think it'd be a really awesome movie.
If it's treated as a reboot rather than not so much a remake, but a reboot and not a continuation or something like that.
A separate entity.
Yeah, do it on its own. Now, while you were reading the description, the darker description, or as you were explaining that, what jumped into my head is that this as a series, not a long run series, not like 24 episodes or anything, but if you've got like an 8 to 10 episode series, you could run this for a couple of years where it changes characters every year, where every season is one person dealing with finding the mask, you finding out the powers that he has, and then dealing with the consequences of using it. And I don't know about the comic, but from the way you explained it, it doesn't always have to turn out good.
No, definitely not.
Which might make some people unhappy when you have an unhappy ending. But and the other side, you could run two series. Like one mask character could last 1 or 2 seasons, but it gives you that freedom of being able to switch up characters or switch it up.
Yeah.
With the same stories and mask, but with different ways of going about it. And the other thing too, which I find is really neat, is because in a series run, you get that first bit where it's fun, right?
Yeah.
Cartoon characters got powers, and then by the middle of the run, you start to realize that there's consequences to using this. And then, so you've got your beginning, you've got your middle, and then the end of the series, you deal with the conclusion of whether good or bad, what the outcome is. And I think that would work great as like binge watching.
Oh, definitely.
So something like this might actually be better off in the Netflix, Hulu, or whatever's out there.
Yeah.
Type of binge watching, longer run out series, so you can get more into the psychology. Because I think that's really what you need to do, is stick away from Jim Carrey. It was liked, it was loved.
Yeah.
Well, whether you liked it or hated it, it's out there and it was well enjoyed for the most part. I think it was a success anyway. I think it was.
I think it was.
From my memory anyway. So in order to separate it and deal with it, I think you really do have to deal with the more psychology of the thing. And I think you can do that better in a 7-hour, 7-part plus.
Yeah.
Rather than a 2-hour.
And then you can lead into an actual movie.
No, you can do that too. So.
Number 4.
Yeah. Remake it. Those of you who actually stopped the video, went down to look at the link, know what number 4 is. Number 4 is...
Meow.
Pretty much.
Catwoman.
I've not seen the movie. You have, I do believe. Right? You lost that hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes, 2 hours of your life?
I wanted to rip my eyes out. I don't even know why I continued to watch it.
I had never had a desire. From the trailers, it was, this is not going to be a good movie.
This was just a movie for prepubescent teenage boys to discover themselves for an hour and a half, because that's really all there was to the movie.
Yeah, that was what I've heard.
All skin, no substance. It was garbage. The story was bad, the costumes was bad, the acting was bad, and I love Halle Berry. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing. She's a very not capable. She's a wonderful actress. I don't know why. Well, sometimes if you're not given anything, there's only so much you can do with nothing.
Oh, definitely. I mean, you can dress up a turd all you want, but at the end of the day, it's still a turd.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
not to say she's a turd, because
not her, not Halle Berry. But the movie itself, I mean,
Yeah. Like I said, I haven't seen it, but the Catwoman character too is so good. I don't know though. Can you see that you get into this with some of these secondary characters, and you hear a lot of talk with. I'm going to go off topic here a little bit. The Avengers. Some of those secondary characters, can they sustain a movie on their own? Is there enough oomph there in those characters to be able to sustain a full movie on their own?
Not on their own. There's got to be somebody else with
them. Well, that's the thing, right? Catwoman is a great character in a Batman movie, and I think this is where the discussion comes for any of these. Any of these characters is her Catwoman in a Batman movie. Oh my god!
Yeah,
amazing, right? Let's do it. But Catwoman in a Catman movie, Catman. Meow. Is that going to sustain itself for 2 hours of us willing to be able to watch it?
No.
Especially in a case where a character may have already been established.
Well, I mean, the first movie that we had Catwoman introduced in was Batman Returns, which was phenomenal. Yes. Michelle Pfeiffer. Drool.
But in every sense, in the way she looked, in the way she acted,
the way she moved,
the way
the character was portrayed perfectly.
But that's the thing. I mean, the way she found that character, this lady who was
Selena Kyle,
so quiet and so withdrawn, and just how she changed. I mean, wow,
badass dominatrix with whips.
But having said that, do I think that character that she portrayed could have sustained a movie on her own? I don't know. I think the answer to that question is no.
No, I don't think.
Now, can we have a Batman movie which is concentrated on her? Maybe.
If she was the main antagonist, sure. Yeah.
But I don't know. Anyway, I think that's sort of where I am with that. Is would I like to see a Catman movie?
It's been a long night.
We've had to do these twice.
Catman?
Well,
the sequel.
What's her name?
The Catman and the Catwoman getting together, and they have little kitties.
What's her name again?
Selena Kyle.
No, yeah.
Catwoman.
Woman?
Not to be confused with the Catman.
Anyway, would I like to see a well-done Catwoman movie?
Coming next year, though, Catman.
He's enjoying this. He doesn't usually get the upper hand. I would love it, but I don't know if it's possible.
No, I don't think. I really don't.
So I think we're on a no with that one.
Yeah.
As much as I think we were going to say yes at the beginning, I think we've talked ourselves into a no.
Yeah.
Cool.
Number 5. Spawn.
I never knew the comic books before the movies came out.
I enjoyed it. I used to collect comics.
I haven't. Well, okay. I'm not a reader. I'm a movie watcher. It takes me way too long to read. I'm a type of person who I have to be able to picture it in my head. So literally, a novel would take me months to read. It's not something I can pound out in a couple hours.
Not me.
And I'm the same way I read every single word and I can't skip. It's got to be da, da, da. Then I look at the picture and I see what's happening and then I go back to the next one. It takes me forever to read. So I'm very much more a movie person.
I enjoyed the original Spawn movie though. As cheesy as it was, I think you can almost take that same movie now and update it with all the new special effects.
They take the cheese out of it.
And it would look so much better. Not that it didn't look, bad from the beginning, but I mean...
My take on this, and we had a little discussion about this before, was I believe that the maker, the people who made those movies back then, believed that in order to make a comic book movie at the time, or some of them did, not all of them, but that you had to add cheese in order to make it believable.
Yeah.
You had to go outlandish and make it obviously outlandish in order to make it believable. I don't think you had to. Uh, I just think you had to be creative. Not that there was anything wrong with the Spawn movies. I enjoyed them, but I did find that they were overly cheesy at times.
Yeah.
But you bought into it because that was what the movies that were being made then. I think if this movie was made now, it could be dark and it could be good.
Oh, hands down, this could be like on par with, well, I guess the new Venom movie that's coming out this year.
Yeah.
So I mean, it would be dark. It would stay away from the cheesy campiness of the original, and you would just go meat and potatoes of a movie, and I think it would be phenomenal.
Now, having said that, this might be a Netflix original type thing too. Just something where you don't have to go into a lot of the big trying to get the draws from the money draws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where because CGI is it's doable now with that. I think if you keep it dark, you can get a niche audience on a thing like Netflix or whatever that would love it.
Yeah.
And really enjoy it, right? Because I don't know if you go dark, there's that worry that it's not going to be appeal to the masses. Which, when you put a movie in theaters and you spend millions and millions and millions of dollars on putting it in theaters, they want it to appeal to the masses.
Yeah.
Which a dark movie doesn't always do, and so I think sometimes something like Netflix or something like that, once again, might be the better way to go.
Yeah. Number 6.
6.
Ghost Rider. As much as I enjoy Nicolas Cage, this was not the role for him. At all. He laughed at words.
I love the Ghost Rider character. Once again, I'm not into comic books much, but
Oh, I do too. I'm not saying that I don't like the Ghost Rider character. It's an awesome character.
No. I'm just trying to sort of explain where I'm coming from on this. There are 3 characters that I got really into as far as comic book goes. Ghost Rider's one of them. Silver Surfer, for whatever reason, is another one, and Wolverine were 3 characters that for whatever reason I really enjoyed, or that just from their descriptions, from their backgrounds, from not from doing a lot of reading, just from the characters' perspectives completely. So when this came out as a movie, I was uber excited. Because, the one thing when it comes to, these could be dark movies, and we're getting back into this again. A hero who's sold his soul to the devil, right? I mean, how much darker can you get?
True.
Do I think Nicolas Cage could have pulled this movie off the way it should have been done if he had a director who actually made him do what he should have done? I think he could have pulled off the character. I think he has it in him. But his ability to change things, like the whole jelly bean thing.
Jelly bean?
You didn't think that? He has vices, right?
Yeah.
And he didn't want, what's his face? Nicolas Cage didn't want it to look negative, so his vice became jelly beans. He's always eating jelly beans in the first movie.
I never noticed.
Yeah, I don't know. Once again, I don't know a whole lot about what actually happens, but I know he has vices, and they're usually bad, like whether it's smoking or drinking or something like this.
Oh, okay.
And he made his vice jelly beans. So right there, all that dark stuff, right out the window. So
It's been a long time since I've seen the movie, so it's just not familiar with it.
Yeah, it's so to me that sort of took a lot of the.
Well, the penance there too.
It's so small. No, but I mean these things are so small, but
you just basically see the sins of the soul from each person, like burns their soul, their eyes, or like craters.
If there's ever an R-rated movie that you ever think could have been made, it's Ghost Rider, right? Even the subject matter that you get into, in my mind, would be so. But the question here is not whether we like the other movies. The question is whether we think there should be a remake done of it anytime soon.
Yes.
No.
What?
I think it's too close to the other movies still. That because he only did they did a second one there just a couple of years ago, didn't they?
No.
Yes, they did a second
Really?
one. After quick research, I was right. There was a remake. There wasn't a remake. There was a sequel made in 2012.
And it did worse
It
than
did
the
worse
first
than
one.
the first one.
So yeah, I'm still sticking by my guns and saying yes, do a remake.
And I'm still thinking that it's too soon. I think we have to.
Well, you, sir, contradicted yourself.
What?
Because you said previously that if you scored less than a 6.
No. I said if you score less than a 6, yes, a remake 5 to 10 years later. And we are in 5.
We are in 5.
But
so.
I think with this case, the first 2, he destroyed the character so much that we really need to wait 10. That's my opinion on it.
If you put it that way, sure.
Halle Berry, see, when we go back to Catwoman, that was just, everyone forgets about those movies.
Yeah.
So you can throw them away and do a remake in 5 years. People still talk about Nicolas Cage and Ghost Rider and how
he cheesed it up.
Yeah. So I think 10 years is what you need to wait. So we are at 2017, another 5 years, 2022 is when they should. I'll start thinking about it in 2020.
Yeah, definitely. And I hope they got to get somebody better than Nicolas Cage.
Having said that, in doing the research, I'm about 2 seasons behind in
Agents
of S.H.I.E.L.D. I didn't realize he showed up in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., so maybe they don't need to because the character is back. So, or maybe they could find a way to spin that character, because it's Marvel, they would use the same character.
Yeah.
Which makes sense, unlike DC, who has 2 Flashes on the go right now. What?
2 Flashes?
Yeah, because there's the Flash on TV and then there's the movie Flash.
Oh, yeah.
2 different Flashes.
Yeah.
I don't like that. I like Marvel sticking everything pretty much together.
Yeah.
And finding a way to even make it work together. But anyway, I digress. I think we've touched on the topics. Should they make a sequel to Ghost Rider?
No, not a sequel, but a remake.
Remake, sorry, definitely not a sequel. Okay, let's put it this way. Yes, not just yet. Give it another few years. You're yes right now. Get her done.
Get her done.
Yeah.
Get her done.
So, but darker, R-rated.
Not even so much R-rated. You can.
I just think the subject matter would have to be R-rated in today's world. Not because of death or killing or anything like that. I just think
Deadpool I see is R-rated because he's a foul-mouthed mercenary which slaughters all.
No, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
Deadpool,
not that.
or not Deadpool, but Ghost Rider.
I just think because of the subject matter, because of the whole owned by the devil or sold his soul to the devil, and the things he has. It's so much more psychological what he does to the people he fights.
I guess you can call it. I guess you could rate it R for
that. It's not because there's going to be blood and guts and swearing. It's just more the subject matter that's involved.
Yeah.
So, if not, it's a heavy PG-13.
Or NC-17.
Yeah. Well, just because you say PG or you say PG-13, and then you've got, I don't think you're going to be able to get into the true, for lack of a better word, heart of Ghost Rider, right? What it's truly about, everything he's got to go through. There's another one that may not be. He's in a series right now, but binge watching series with him to actually get to see the psychology behind becoming and living with might be interesting. Have you? Yeah, I don't want to get into too many other topics, but I mean, Punisher. They just did Punisher on Netflix.
Yeah, I was never a fan of Punisher,
and I was never. I liked it. I didn't really like or dislike Punisher, but I liked. Okay, just quickly, the Netflix Marvel series, I find they can drag on at times. I think they try to fit too much into to make it a long-running series rather than just dealing with the topic and whether that's 7 episodes or whether that's 13.
Yeah.
Who cares? I don't care if there's 13 episodes. I just want the story to be dealt with. I find sometimes it's like, well, we got to get 13 episodes, so let's put in a bunch of fluff to get there. But overall, I really like the series and I like what they've done with Punisher. So I think they could do something similar with Ghost Rider and make it work. That might be a way to do a reboot
Yeah.
and not have and forget about Nicolas Cage completely. So that's our new show.
That's gonna do it for this week.
Let us know what you think of this new idea, new format. Like I said, it's not always going to be comic book stuff. We're just going to come up. You got ideas for what you'd like us to do on searches and stuff? Leave it in the comments, or get in touch with us. We're just looking for different things. So anything that'll put us on a different tangent, why not?
Yeah.
So
All right, we're gonna catch you guys next week.
see ya.